review book one is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He is helping people make their darkness conscious by transforming emotional wounds into personal wisdom. And of course, an author too, no other than Miss Carrie Blazer. Welcome to Book 101, Miss Carrie, and can you please introduce more about yourself?
I'm Carrie Blazer. I'm a recently published author of Minor Heroine Exploring Feminine Pain. I was raised in Southern California. I went to UCSB and got my master's degree in East Asian Religious Studies. I have three grown children, and I'm now ready to share how I transform my emotional wounds into personal wisdom and all the healing techniques that I developed along the way.
Miss Carrie Blazer, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. And hoping for more and more empowering books like this to come. How do you distinguish feminine pain from general emotional suffering? What makes it unique?
I mean, I say feminine pain is a form of emotional suffering. But as a woman who was raised in a household with a single mother, I was protecting myself most of my life. So I was in my masculine, repressing my femininity. And it was a very kind of painful process where I had a lot of failed relationships. I had a lot of difficulty parenting my kids. I had a lot of body aches and pains because I wasn't caring for myself properly as a healthy feminine woman. So 10 years ago, when my mother passed away on my 45th birthday, my intuition, which is feminine, told me, Carrie, it's time to accept your psychic gifts and heal from your childhood trauma. It's time to stop trying to be a man in a woman's body because obviously, with all the migraines I got and body aches and failed relationships, that wasn't working. So, feminine pain is the inability to be a healthy feminine woman and the ability to nurture and have compassion, forgive. Like my inability to forgive just decimated relationships. So I couldn't hold the healthy feminine spot in a relationship as a healthy counterbalance to a healthy masculine man. So I attracted men into my life who were in their feminine from their childhood trauma because I was in my masculine from my childhood trauma, and there's the opposite. And I think a lot of women are in this exact situation this day. So I know my book can help them self reflect and learn how to turn their emotional wounds into personal wisdom so they can bring out their femininity, be healthy, hormonally balanced, emotionally regulated, and have engaging, healthy relationships.
Why frame pain exploration through the archetypal heroine narrative instead of a clinical or victimhood lens?
So I'm not okay. So my inner heroine, the reason I chose that title is I had to learn how to find my own self worth. I had to learn to save myself. No one's coming to rescue me, right? I'm a grown woman. I have a master's degree. I speak Chinese. I have three kids who are highly accomplished on their own. No one's coming for me. So I had to figure out how to bring the heroine out of my heart and save myself. And then that's a story that I share in the book. Um, and so yeah, I would say that would be, yeah.
Very well said, Miss Gary. Beautifully articulated. How does feminine pain carry legacies of our foremothers' silent struggles?
Yeah, so 15 to 20 generations of our ancestral wounds are carried in our DNA. So my mom's feminine pain, her inability to have a healthy relationship, her alcoholic wounds, her all of her wounds were in me, and the things that she couldn't heal were left for me to do. It's like kind of like a generational legacy. We're all here together, souls having a human experience, and so it doesn't end with one lifetime. So not only do we get the benefits of what they left for us in the physical world to manage and deal with, we also get the emotional pain. And I used to think that I was a victim because of that. I used to think that, well, why didn't they solve it and why didn't they do it? And they're the adults, and that I'm the victim here. But I learned through my healing process that my soul has a plan for my life, for my benefit, to teach me how to turn my darkness, make my darkness conscious, heal myself, download more wisdom, and then in doing so, I help my family, my community, and the rest of the collective of souls.
What practices help women transform pain from a source of shame or to a catalyst for self discovery?
Well, I would say I'll share a couple pieces of wisdom that really help me accept reality. And in psychology, we call that radical acceptance. First is that our souls plan our lives based on the laws of physics. And so I'll share a physics experiment that I think of daily that helps me. It's like, why is it so hard? Okay, I needed the valley, and this is why. Okay. So if you have two balls that are on two tracks that are the same distance, and one track is slightly downhill, and one track has hills and valleys. So technically, the distance traveled on the hills and valleys is longer. Which ball finishes first? What do you think?
Which ball would come first?
Which ball would hit the finish line first? Slightly downhill or the hills and valleys?
Slightly down. The first one?
No, it's the hills and valleys. And so I have a I have a video of this, right? Because
Yes.
I had to see it, like, hey,
Yes.
show me, right? Um,
Yes.
and why is because the valleys create momentum and propulsion to go up to the next
And
mountaintop.
down. Oh, yes.
Right? And that's laws of physics. And so I'm
True.
like, well, this is why I have so many valleys, and this is why my life is, learning to surf the waves of life. And when you learn to surf the waves of life, you got to start in the smaller waves. Okay. Let
True.
me go into my pain a little bit and let me come out of my pain. And then, oh, let me go bigger and then let me come out. Like, if you want to get to the top of Mount Everest, you have to like go into a valley of darkness of training that's, significant to propel yourself to the next mountaintop. And so that's one piece of wisdom that I hold on to daily, and helps me. It's like, hey, Carrie, radical, accept it. You needed the valley of darkness to get to the next mountaintop. Like, I've been laid off for almost 2 years now, working on my book, getting it out, believing like my soul has a plan. My soul has a plan, and I'm coming out now. Right. So that's one piece of wisdom. Other piece of wisdom is the universe is a mirror. So what happens is, and physicists have proven this, that we're all energy bodies, and our hearts are how we communicate. That's how we're connected. I mean, that's where our soul is, and our heart and soul, right? So we're constantly communicating with all the other souls. Why? Okay. So our heart is projected out onto the quantum field, all the other souls. And then what we resonate with is what's in our soul, the wounds and the wisdom. So what we see and experience, like if I see someone that's selfish, what that's really showing me is I have selfishness inside of me. So this is one way to get people out of the victim mindset, is this: the universe is a mirror. So when you see selfishness in someone else, it's time to ask yourself, how am I being selfish? So that kind of self-reflect, that it entices the self-reflection. And I'd say the third piece of wisdom I'll share is triggers are our healing friend and not our healing foe. Um, and when we're triggered, that emotional pain's at the surface, and it's a perfect time to address our emotional wounds. And since the universe is a mirror showing us how we feel about ourselves, so we have self-improvement opportunities, let's thank the other person for triggering us and not attack them. Oh, wait, I'm triggered. It's me. I need to go heal. So I'll share a piece, Soul's Purpose. So in my book, some of the men that I help are, prominent figures. Justin
Yes.
Waller with his best friend Andrew Tate, two fire academy instructors, former FBI assistant special agent in charge, chess champion. These are the men that I attracted into my life. One way Andrew Tate's soul and my soul have a plan together, and I know this is kind of a new take on Andrew Tate, but this is why I'm here, to show people a different way of looking at the world. Is Andrew Tate excels at triggering women's, fear of men wound and fear of being sexually assaulted wound. That's one reason I attracted him into my life. There are many reasons, and I go over it in the book. And he helped me see myself as a mirror tremendously. So, how we're working in lockstep, Andrew triggers the wound, and my book will show women how to face their fear of men and fear of being sexually assaulted. Like, you see countless YouTube interviews of women choosing to run into a bear and not a man in the woods. That is a fear of men, a fear of being sexually assaulted. So we're seeing it that it's everywhere. And so if you want to eradicate sexual assault, the only way to do that is to address the wound in our soul. So when I had a wound of fear of men's fear of being sexually assaulted, these, hot top tier men who also have wounds were attracted into my life to show me myself. And I go over all of that in the book. So women can use my book as a tool. It's like, if you don't want to get sexually assaulted, then address the wound. Our souls plan our lives based on what our wounds are, so we have self-improvement opportunities. And I lean on Carl Jung a lot in the book to support my way of kind of viewing the world like that.
Very well said, Miss Carrie, and thank you so much for sharing your wisdom to the world.
Thank
How
you.
does feminine pain manifest physically, and what somatic tools release it hold?
So I had lower back pain from the time I was 15 until my first conversation with my first guy. Okay. So that was like debilitating lower back pain. I had a hard time cooking and cleaning. But what was that doing? My lower back, we store emotional pain. Our emotional pain is stored in our body as physical pain. And that's why so many women have hip pain right now. And you'll see so many advertisements on Instagram for somatic hip exercises. Working through the physical is one way to open up the emotional. I use yoga, hot yoga, love hot yoga. And whenever someone told me, Carrie, try hot yoga, I'm like, what? And then I went, like, oh, okay, I get it now, right? So,
Yes.
so it's awesome. And so I would say yoga, hip exercises, walking barefoot in nature. Give yourself space to be a woman. And, all of this like lifting weights, and not saying we do need to lift weights, but more kind of surrendering, surrender to the yoga class, surrender to the walking barefoot in nature, surrender that you're a feminine woman and don't need to be jacked like a masculine man, or super sexually promiscuous. That's not feminine either. Femininity is modesty. Look at me, you know I attract this level of man into my life because I put out healthy feminine I put out the healthy feminine. I'm modest. I don't sleep around. I didn't go on a date with any of these guys. And that's why I had a chance with these guys, because I'm unique. I'm special. I value my femininity, and they know if they get me, they have someone who values themselves and is special. So women are taking the wrong approach when they throw their body around thinking this is the way to get a high value man.
And Miss Carrie, you're truly unique, and we salute you for being you. And what societal structures most weaponize feminine pain, and how we dismantle them?
Well, I would say women are not men. So teaching women that they're going to be most satisfied by getting a college degree, a career, and then maybe having kids in their 30s is not looking at how does the female body operate. Women are best served by being able to process our emotions and focus on relationships. That's what brings hormonal balance. So the right brained activities, creativity, nurturing, compassion, forgiveness, this brings hormonal balance to women. I think this is something that a lot of people have missed. And I'm going off John Gray, who wrote Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. So people, oh, Carrie, get with the times. I'm like, well, hormones don't get with the times. Our hormones are our hormones, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
so, if we want healthy masculine men, we have to support healthy levels of testosterone. Well, the birth control pill is one way we hurt women, because and men, because it suppresses ovulation. Ovulation produces testosterone in men. Women and men are in this together. I think it's something that we've forgotten, that a healthy feminine woman, like that femininity, fuels masculinity. Like if I'm out there modest, beautiful, men are going to open the door for me, are going to want to help me and do things for me. If I'm out there all cursing and, not being feminine, men don't want that, right?
Yes.
You have to remember
Yes.
we're here together. We're here to complement each other and not decide who's better.
True. We are two equal people because God created us equal.
Yeah.
How does the heroine refrain resilience beyond endurance?
How does the heroine, I'm sorry.
Reframe resilience beyond
Oh,
endurance.
yeah, resilience. I needed a lot of resilience, and I've never been able to, only now, I say this year, I'm able to establish healthy relationships. I rejected myself so much since I was like 5 years old that there was nothing left to connect with. I saw this one statue, and it was grief. And it was a man with a head and his arms and his legs, and his whole body was empty. You could just see right through it. I'm like, gosh, that's me. That was me. So, shamanism helped teach me that I needed to recall all those parts of myself. Psychology calls it codependency, where shamanism calls it rejected part of self and recalled part of self. Well, I rejected my whole heart. Like I just rejected. But in doing so, then that drove me on my journey to find myself. And then I found how to love myself. And then I figured out, okay, if I love myself like this, then I can love others like that, and so on and so forth. But and that wound is what gave me the drive. That is why that deep valley of darkness. I'm like, I want out of this valley, right? That gave me the momentum and the resilience and the strength to like dig myself out of the hole I got myself in, my soul's plan to get me to the next mountaintop. And I mean, what that the universe, all the collective of souls chose me to be compassionate towards Andrew Tate. Like I could see the value in that, and I could bring that as a healing lesson to the world. Like that's an amazing that's level, like I need to have a lot of humility, right? Because that's an amazing that I got chosen for that.
True.
And I could teach people a different view of a man like Andrew Tate. And in my final chapter, I quote Winston Churchill, who said, "It is often said that famous men are often the product of an unhappy childhood." I'm like, oh, there's the two ball experiment, right? He's getting at the same thing I was. They need that valley of darkness to propel them to great heights. And our souls plan those wounds. Like there's a popular saying on spiritual channels, the emotional wounds he left me with were also a gift. And in my book, I teach people how to turn their emotional wounds into personal wisdom through a 3-step process called appreciate, learn, forgive. Appreciate your challenges in life because that's how you have opportunities to unearth more self belief and more self confidence. And I show that in the book. Um, and gratitude is a heart opener. You can't heal with your heart closed. So gratitude opens your heart, and then it's time to move into self-reflection. Ask yourself why your soul planned that for you. Not did it plan? No, everything is planned. Why was that necessary? Why was it necessary for Andrew Tate to, be thrown in solitary confinement? What did he need to see about himself? And one question I ask his soul is, okay, Andrew, we've talked, I talk into his soul, that your internal reality is projected, universe is a mirror externally so you can see yourself. You know that, right? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, so why did your soul create this plan for you to be in solitary confinement? What do you need to see about how you feel about yourself that you're now so isolated and deserve to be, punished at such a level? Why was this level of kind of isolation necessary for you? And it was, but I resonated with that level of isolation, hence, that grief statue, right? And then I
Yes.
came upon a Carl Jung quote who helped me understand myself. And he said something to summarize, one doesn't feel isolated because they have no one about them. One feels isolated because other people don't want to hear what that person has to say. They won't allow that person to share themselves. So they say they model rejection. My parents modeled to me that I should reject myself, that I'm the problem, and I internalized that. And so most of my life, I thought and I created a reality for myself that I'm the problem, but that was showing me my wound in my subconscious or my shadow. So then I went on the journey the last 10 years to figure out how, no, I'm not the problem. I actually have a solution for everyone. It's the opposite. And wounds are inverted wisdom. So in my subconscious, in that wound, I'm the problem. When I go in and turn that wound into wisdom, I'm the solution.
Very well said again, Miss Carey. Beautifully, beautifully articulated and inspiring answer too. As an author and helping people make their darkness conscious by transforming emotional wounds into personal wisdom, what are your short term and long term goals?
Oh, wow. So I'm currently working on a film adaptation with a major studio. I mean, with Andrew Tate involved, they have to be able to handle that level of influence and power. So that's super exciting. I'm working on getting my book traditionally published. I'm building up my YouTube channel. I've been able to schedule podcasts with two different psychologists. One is going to analyze my visions and dreams, and one will analyze how all the archetypes, like you brought up the heroine archetype, that's not an area of specialty that I have. But he wants to do a 6-part series and potentially interview my kids because with my traumatic childhood and I hadn't healed, I passed down trauma through the generational trauma process to my kids, and one has an eating disorder, and my son has a mild autism, and they have their challenges. So there's a lot to look forward to on my YouTube channel, and yeah.
Looking forward for that, Miss Carey, and more success, and hoping that we have another book coming next year or whatever. Please create more empowering books to the world. And what will be your piece of advice for those people out there want to be an author?
Oh, to be an author, open your heart. Being an author helped me see myself so much and gave me so many more opportunities to own my crap. Because here's my plan. I was like, okay, I can let it on the page, but I will never disparage these men publicly. I don't speak for them. And the book is all about what I learned and how I saw myself and how they were a mirror to me. We're all humans. We all have our imperfections. We all have our wounds. So we're here to make those self improvements for ourselves. So I would say, people to own that in themselves. See this as an opportunity to see yourself so that you can improve, let go of your emotional pain, become more emotionally balanced.
Yes, people, stop procrastinating. If you have the passion to write, just like Miss Carrie. And how do women navigate criticism for prioritizing their pain work?
That is really hard because it's not well supported. And what my enlightenments were all around is I didn't value my ability to create life and from my femininity. That includes human life, and also femininity fuels healthy masculinity. I didn't understand that about myself. I didn't dive into it. And when we tell women they should have a corporate job and then take care of their kids in the evening, there's no time to process our pain. And neurologists have studied this. When a man sees a problem, he's a healthy man, he sees in the back of his head, he skips all this part of his brain, goes right to the frontal cortex, makes a decision, processes it. Women, we're the opposite. We see a problem, we have to connect to all that problem in our brain. So we actually use our brains more. Then we have a solution which takes 10 to 20 times as long. So when we treat women like they're just men, we're not acknowledging that the feminine body and the feminine experience is the opposite. We need women to be connected to their emotions, to process their emotional pain. And one of the main pieces of wisdom, my dedication in the book, is a Cherokee proverb. A woman's highest calling is to connect a man to his soul so he can unite with source energy. A man's highest calling is to protect a woman so she can walk the earth unharmed. We don't give women time to connect to their own soul and then model that for their man, for their family, and for community. And that's why we have so much mental illness challenges. Emotional intimacy, which connection to the soul, is where mental health is created and sustained. But we don't give women time for that. Hence, we don't value a stay at home mom. We don't value traditional relationships. But this is where we're steering women wrong. And we're, 20 years from population collapse because women don't value themselves. I went back to work after my second child, and about 4 weeks when she was 4 weeks old, I developed bacterial pneumonia, had to be hospitalized in ICU on a ventilator for 2 weeks. I almost died because I didn't value my ability to create life and this new infant that I had, and no one around me was teaching me to, including my husband. But he has childhood trauma. So when we prioritize money over everything else, then the family is destroyed and the children are destroyed. And I go into all that in the book about how feminism and sexual promiscuity is destroying women. And I've been there. I was the feminist with the master's degree who could, do everything and have kids. And I'm an extremely intelligent woman and I had a long career. So if I can't do it in a healthy way, after a traumatic childhood, I would say that you'd be hard pressed to be able to do it. And I'm not trying to be arrogant. I just, I been there, done that. And if you can do it and that works for you, go for it. But I'm saying in general, most women can't. And I just want to encourage us to value femininity so that we can bring out the healthy masculinity, have healthy nuclear families, and create a better society. And that's my goal. Like, I'm a mother first, right? I have 3 grown kids. I don't have grandchildren yet, but I will. And so here I am with all my wisdom and knowledge and experience out here trying to create a better society for who first? My children, because I'm a
True.
mother.
Through our generation to generation to come. And Miss Carrie, we salute you for your sharing your wisdom to the world. Describe a woman who's embodied her pain as a wisdom. What radiates from her?
What? I'm sorry, what?
What radiates from her?
Irradiates.
Yeah.
Well, women are source energy. So, wisdom that I downloaded in the fall that goes along with women's valuing women's ability to create. I that relationship with the fall, it took me back to a guy from my childhood. And so I asked the universe, I'm like, he's so impactful to me, like, who is he to me? And I was doing all these, was coming out of my heart, and my intuition is feminine calling in her masculine. I'm like, what does this mean, feminine calling in her masculine? And so the universe shared with me how our souls split into a feminine soul and a masculine soul so we can see ourselves. Why are we here? We're souls having a human experience so we can see ourselves, experience ourselves, and our opposite is our best mirror. We don't know what tall is until we know what short is. We don't know what good is until we know what bad is. We don't know what a man is until we know what a woman is. Okay. So these are how opposites work the best mirror. So what I was told is that the intent to create the masculine soul creates the feminine soul, to show you how important intent is. And then the feminine soul tears out half of her heart chakra to create the masculine soul. Now, this makes sense that women are source energy. We channel souls through us, we channel human life through us, and then men are once removed. So women connect and men disconnect as the opposite. Women deal with birth, men deal with death as the opposite. And so when women value their femininity and their open heart and their humility and honesty and compassion and nurturing and forgiveness, we naturally radiate source energy, which fuels men's masculinity. This is why men protect us and provide for us. And why are we here on this planet? We're here to do the emotional work. We're here to see our wounds and turn those wounds to wisdom. Of course, men too, right? But in their way. So, um, this is the feminine work, is that to acknowledge that and value source energy. Like, we're not valuable because we can go make money. Women are valuable because we naturally heal. When we're healthy and our hearts are open, we heal and we produce life. I can produce life, and you think that a corporate job is like, who would fire me tomorrow and doesn't care about me is somehow showing my value more? No, but we've taught women this all over media. We've pounded it down their throats. So it's time to, let's get real. Let's have a real conversation. What is healthiest for women? And if women are balanced, then that's how men are balanced, right? Like, so many men, MGTOW, half of men don't even date because they don't want to deal with all these masculine women. And so, because femininity fuels masculinity, but there's no femininity over here. So men are like, forget it. I'm out of here.
Let's empower women all over the world, people. And before we wrap up our discussion for today, Miss Carrie, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in 5th season, abstract poetry in 2nd season, and of course my book 101 review in 5th season too, comedy 101 in 2nd season, and my food 101 in 5th season as well. Geography 101 in 4th season, and my baby podcast, Law 101 and Mental Health 101. Love letters in third season, and Movie 101 review and Music 101 of fourth season, and my Science 101 and Sex 101 in each first season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. Miss Carrie, what's one action you invite women to take today to honor their pain?
Buy my book. Put time
Yes.
aside to read the book. Put time aside to give yourself opportunities to rest, to open your heart, listen to your heart, which is what my book encourages. So it's $2.99 on ebook on Amazon. So I hope you check it out.
Miss Carrie Blazer, thank you so much for sharing your memoir to the world and truly empowering and truly make woman number one or equal to the world. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your book, Miss Carrie?
Oh, would you like me? Oh, yeah. So my book is on Amazon. You can also find me on www.carrieblazer.com. I'm on Instagram, carrieblazer.com. I also have another handle, Red Pill Shaman, because Justin and Andrew are Red Pill. So that's Instagram as well. You can check me out there.
Yes, people, let's support Miss Carrie Blazer because if you support her more and more and more empowering books to come, more and more empowering advocacy to come, and for sure, more and more empowering women activities to come. So, Miss Carrie, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
More to come, people. See you soon.